Imagine waking up to headlines that an entire village, homes, pets, people, lives had disappeared without a single trace. No bodies, no smoke, no footprints in the frost. Just silence. This isn't an ancient ghost story. This happened in 2025, in a quiet valley in northern England, a place called Elderglow. One day, 187 people were living their ordinary lives. The next, nothing. I'm your narrator, and what you're about to hear is the most disturbing, unsolved mystery you've never heard of. Some say it was a government experiment gone wrong. Others whisper about ancient curses or a portal to another realm. But one thing's certain, what happened in Elderglow should not be possible. Elderglow wasn't famous. It wasn't rich. It wasn't the kind of place you'd expect to make the news. Just a sleepy farming village nestled between low hills and damp forests. The kind of place you drive past and forget 5 minutes later. But there was something odd about Elderglow, even before it vanished. It was one of the few places in the UK that still kept to certain traditions: seasonal bonfires, forest offerings, a village bell that rang at dusk every Friday, even though no one could remember why. Most people chalked it up to rural charm, but now it feels like a warning no one understood. The last known contact came from a schoolteacher named Diane Meller. She posted a photo to social media: children playing under heavy clouds, trees rustling in the background. The caption was strange. "They're closer today. The ground hums when they pass." That was 8:17 a.m. on October 3rd. After that, total digital silence. No phone signals, no data, no posts. Just gone. By the time emergency responders arrived the next day, they found intact homes, hot meals still on dinner tables, pets wandering the streets, but no people, not a single one. As if the village had simply exhaled its humanity. The police sealed off the area immediately, citing an unidentified public safety risk. But locals in surrounding towns weren't convinced. Some claimed they heard a low-pitched hum in the air the night before the disappearance. Others reported odd dreams, recurring images of drowning in black water or standing at the edge of a forest with no end. A retired fireman from nearby Thistlecombe swore he saw lights in the sky that pulsed in sync with the village bell. But what unsettled people most wasn't what was found. It was what wasn't. No signs of struggle, no signs of panic, no damage to doors, windows, or fences. Cars were still parked, laundry still hung from lines. Even the cows were still in their pens, untouched. A perfectly preserved village, minus the people. Whatever happened didn't involve force. It involved precision, like someone or something had removed them carefully, intentionally, and all at once. Conspiracy theorists exploded. Some blamed HARP. Others pointed to classified military projects or secret CERN experiments. A Reddit thread even proposed an underground electromagnetic pulse that triggered mass disintegration. But the most viral theory came from an unexpected place: an 83-year-old folklorist named Edwin Cauld. He lived in Elderglow once, as a boy. He claimed this wasn't the first time the village had vanished. According to Cauld's writings, Elderglow had disappeared before, in 1789, and again in 1346, and again before that in Roman records, under a different name. Each time, it returned a generation later, rebuilt by outsiders with no memory of its past. Always the same traditions, always the same bell, always near the same forest. He wrote that Elderglow stood on a thin place, a crack between worlds that sometimes opened. At first, people mocked him, but then researchers discovered something odd. The village wasn't on any maps prior to 1902, not even historical cartography. Old rail lines and postal routes curved awkwardly around where it should have been, as if something had erased it and then filled it back in. Satellite data from the day of the disappearance showed a minor electromagnetic surge, barely a blip, but localized entirely to that valley. No one could explain it, but it happened. And then came the radio transmission. A month after the disappearance, a forgotten radio station in Cornwall picked up a single encrypted pulse on an unused military band. When decoded, it revealed a short phrase: "They are not gone. We have stepped sideways." The signal stopped as suddenly as it had started. Was it a prank? A leftover data packet? Or something else entirely? No one's sure. But it echoed a line Cauld had written decades before. When the forest breathes and the bell tolls wrong, the living walk sideways into the hollow. To this day, no one knows where Elderglow's people went, or why. The area remains sealed. Drones malfunction when flown over it. Wildlife avoids it. Even satellite images seem to blur at its borders, as if something doesn't want to be seen. Some believe the village still exists, but not here. That it was pulled into another dimension or slipped into an ancient cycle of disappearance. Others think it's part of a grander plan, a test of what we'd notice if the world quietly deleted entire stories from our reality. But here's the strangest part. In January 2025, a child's drawing was found wedged between books at a library 50 miles from Elderglow. No one knew how it got there. It showed a group of smiling people standing in a strange blue forest, under a black sun, holding hands. On the back, a single sentence was scrawled in crayon: "Don't ring the bell again." If you've made it this far, you know this isn't just a story about a village. It's about how little control we have over the world around us, how history hides the strangest truths in plain sight, how silence is sometimes the loudest answer. If that gave you chills, hit the like button, subscribe for more dark history like this, and remember, some places vanish not because they're forgotten, but because they're not meant to be remembered.